Hey everyone, I'm Connor, an English teacher from LANGMASTER learning system. In the next 3 videos, we will find out the secrets to improve your listening skill. But first, we will learn about the wrong way to improve your English listening skills. How do you improve your English listening skills? If you ask this question to your English teachers, they will all tell you the same thing. They will tell you to go watch movies. They will say that watching movies is a great way to improve your listening. But there's a problem. A lot of English learners watch movies with subtitles. Some people use English subtitles. Other people use subtitles in their native languages. Now, it doesn't matter what kind of subtitles you use. Watching movies with subtitles is a really bad way to improve your listening. And in this video, I'm going to explain to you why it's such a bad idea. But first, let me share with you my student story. She was in high school. She wanted to improve her English listening skills. So what did she do? Well, she started to watch movies with English subtitles. She thought that was the best way to improve her listening. She was really optimistic. She thought that in 2 or 3 years, she would be able to understand native speakers. Unfortunately, it didn't work. After 4 years of doing that, she could still not understand native speakers. She still needed subtitles when watching a movie. She was really disappointed. She watched a lot of movies, but she could still not understand native speakers. As you can see, it's a wrong way to improve your English listening skills. So what's the reason? Let's talk about that right now. Firstly, there's one thing about listening that you need to know. Listening and hearing are not the same. If you want to improve your listening, make sure that when you practice listening, you're really listening and not just hearing. So, what's the difference between listening and hearing? Well, the difference is whether or not you're paying attention. If you are paying attention, then you're listening. If you're not paying attention, then that's just hearing. So let me give you an example. If you turn on the radio and pay attention to the sound from the radio, then that is listening. But if you turn on the radio and then do something else like reading a book, then that's just hearing. You can hear the radio, but you're not paying attention to it. You are not listening. And again, if you want to improve your listening, make sure that you're really listening and not just hearing. You need to make sure that you're paying attention. Now, let's talk about watching movies with subtitles. What's wrong with it? Why doesn't it work? As you might have guessed, it doesn't work because you're not listening. You are just hearing. So let me explain. When you watch a movie, your brain is trying to understand the movie. But there isn't just one way to do that. There are 2 ways or 2 options. The first option is to focus on reading the subtitles. The second option is to focus on listening to the sound. Now, I have a question for you. Which option do you think your brain will choose? Reading or listening? Well, the answer is pretty obvious. Your brain is obviously going to focus on reading the subtitles. Why? Because it's much easier. The text on the screen is clear, so it's very easy for your brain to process. The sounds of people talking, on the other hand, are not so clear. So it's much more difficult for your brain to figure out what people are saying. As a result, your brain will pay attention to the subtitles and not the sounds. So when you watch a movie with subtitles, you're not really improving your listening. You're actually improving your reading. That's why it doesn't work. So, the best way to improve your listening is to just listen. Don't read and listen at the same time. If you watch a movie in English, remove the subtitles so that your brain will have to focus on the listening. If you do that, your listening will improve much faster. That said, there is still a problem. If you remove the subtitles, then, well, you won't understand the movie. And if you don't understand the movie, then, well, it's going to be boring. So what should you do? Here's our suggestion. Don't try to improve your listening by watching movies. Just watch movies for fun. There is a better and faster way to improve your listening. And that's the subject of the next video. In the next video, I'll share with you the method we use to help our students improve their English listening skills. So, I'll see you again in the next video. If you really want to change your English speaking and listening skills, make a decision and join LANGMASTER Learning System. We will help you speak English easily, fluently, and automatically. I'm Connor from LANGMASTER Learning System. Goodbye. See you next time. Hello everyone, I'm Connor, an English teacher of LANGMASTER Learning System. This is the second video that will show you how to practice English listening skills without spending extra time. What's the best way to improve your listening? In this video, I'm going to share with you the technique I teach my students to help them improve their listening. This technique works, and I wish you had known this technique a lot sooner, because it's easy to do and very effective. So, let's get started. Firstly, let's talk about why most people fail to improve their listening. Improving your listening skills takes time. It's a long-term process. But most people forget that, or they just don't know. So, when they practice listening, they use methods that are inconvenient, something that is not easy to do. So, it's impossible for them to continue doing it for a long time. As a result, most people quit before they get any results. But how do I know this? Well, I know this because my students have made the same mistake. They tried several methods that were inconvenient, like watching the same movie twice, with subtitles first and then without subtitles. That was so boring, so they quit after the fourth movie. They also tried listening and then writing down what they heard, but that was too much work and they were too busy. So let's take this back to you. How do you make sure that you don't fail like they did? Well, if you want to succeed, the method you use must be convenient. must be easy to do. If it's not, you'll probably quit before you see an improvement. So, let me share with you the most convenient way to improve your listening. It is very simple. There are only 2 steps that you need to take. Here's the first step. Download a lot of listening materials to your phone or MP3 player. Now, the best listening materials are the ones where people are just talking naturally. They're just having real conversations. When you use this kind of materials, you're listening to a lot of common, everyday words that people use in real life. Now, don't worry, at the end of this video, I'm going to give you a resource that you can go to download this kind of materials for absolutely free. So, that's the first step. The next step is very important. Do not miss this step. The next step is to listen to the materials. But here's the key. Do not do it in your free time. Instead, do it when you're already doing something else. Something that doesn't require much of your attention. Listen to the materials while commuting, waiting in line, while exercising, and so on. Use those times to practice listening so that you don't have to spend extra time. Now, why do we have to do this? Well, the reason is that we want to make it convenient. When it's easy to do, you're likely to do it for a long time. If you study long enough, your listening skills will definitely improve. Now let me show you something that might shock you. Let's compare this technique with watching movies, which is how many people improve their listening. If you start using this technique today, and if you do it for 30 minutes per day, 1 year from now, you will have listened to 10,950 minutes of real English conversations. That is a lot of listening. And because you're not doing it in your free time, the amount of extra time spent is 0. That's awesome. What about watching movies? First of all, in the movie, there isn't a conversation or a dialogue in every part, right? If you watch an action movie, you might see a fight scene, an explosion, a car chase scene, and so on. So, let's say on average, the length of a movie is 100 minutes. 50% of those are conversations. The rest is something else. If you watch 4 movies a week, or 208 a year, in 1 year, you will have listened to 10,400 minutes of fake English conversations. Now, here's the worst part. Because each movie is 100 minutes long, this method requires you to spend as much as 20,800 minutes of your free time. This is really, really sad. Now, let's compare the 2 methods side by side. Now, I have a question for you. If you use this technique instead of watching movies, and you save over 20,000 minutes per year, how would you spend these 20,000 minutes? Reading English books to increase your vocabulary, practice speaking, or something else? Leave me a comment and let me know. So now you know the power of this technique. Let me repeat something important. This is a long-term process. It takes time, so please be patient. Fortunately, now you know this technique, so I know that you'll succeed. Okay, now it's time for me to share some listening materials with you. But first, I really want to ask you a favor. It took us several days to create this video and find some materials for you. If you find this video at all useful, please take a few seconds and share it with one English learning community. You'll not only help them, but you will also help us. And then just click right here to get some free listening materials. In the next video, I'll share with you the method we use to help our students improve their English listening skills. So, I'll see you again in the next video. If you really want to change your English speaking and listening skills, make a decision and join LANGMASTER Learning System. We will help you speak English easily, fluently, and automatically. I'm Connor from LANGMASTER Learning System. Goodbye. See you next time. Hey everyone, I'm Connor, an English teacher of LANGMASTER Learning System. In this video, I will share with you the way to understand English movies without subtitles. Let's talk about a problem you might have when listening to English, especially when watching a movie. You don't understand what you hear. And this is not because you don't know the vocabulary. If you read the transcript or the subtitles, you will understand the material just fine. So you already know the words being used, you just don't recognize them when listening. So, what should you do? According to many research studies, an effective way to deal with this problem is to practice listening through easy to hard training. In one study, participants were trained to perform a task related to hearing, and there were 3 levels of difficulty: easy, normal, and difficult. The participants were divided into 2 groups. The first group was trained to perform only the difficult version of that task. The second group, however, started with the easy and normal versions first before performing the difficult version. The researchers wanted to know which group would perform the difficult version better. So what was the result? Well, despite having less training with the difficult version, the second group actually performed better. Practically speaking, this finding suggests that if you have difficulty doing something, instead of just keep doing the same thing, it's more effective to start with something easy and then slowly increase the difficulty as you improve. So, how can you apply this knowledge to improve your listening? I will tell you. Firstly, you have to make it easy in the beginning. For example, if you listen to podcasts in English on your smartphone, find an app that lets you change playback speed so that you can slow down or speed up what you're actually listening to. If you listen on your computer, there are programs that can do that as well. Then, whenever you have trouble understanding, use the app to slow down the audio like this.
told my mom that I was going to win first place, and she just laughed at me. To be honest, she had no real reason to believe me, because I wasn't a particularly great speller, and I hadn't even placed in the previous year's contest. But for some reason, I was so sure of myself, so I said, okay, Mom.
So now it gets easier, right? You have more time to think, you have more time to make out words that aren't pronounced clearly. You have more time to guess the meanings of new words and phrases. The idea here is to make it easy in the beginning. Listen at slower speeds. Listen to speakers that are easy to understand. Listen to easy stuff like podcasts and interviews as opposed to movies. Start small. But you're not done yet. Easy to hard training requires you do go from easy to difficult. So once your listening skills improve, you have to gradually increase the difficulty. So, for example, if you're listening to a speaker that speaks slowly and you can understand everything, instead of listening at the normal speed, speed it up like this.
For English learners, it's frustrating and embarrassing. You can't understand spoken English.
Now, after you speed it up, you must still be able to understand the context, but you should feel a little uncomfortable. This will help you become more familiar with listening to fast speakers. The idea here is to keep pushing yourself. If you keep listening to something easy, your listening skills will stop improving. So you have to keep challenging yourself. So listen at faster speeds. Also, don't keep listening to the same person. Listen to different people with different speaking styles. And then start watching movies without subtitles. If it's still difficult, you can slow down the movie by 5% or 10%, or you can slow it down even more if you don't mind the slowness. Once you get used to it, you can then start watching movies at normal speed. Alright, good luck. In the next video, I'll share with you the method we use to help our students improve their English listening skills. So, I'll see you again in the next video. If you really want to change your English speaking and listening skills, make a decision and join LANGMASTER Learning System. We will help you speak English easily, fluently, and automatically. I'm Connor from LANGMASTER Learning System. Goodbye. See you next time.